Okay, but we can start. My name is Jaak, Vilo. I'm happy to host this evening session of Tallinn Data Week. Happy that this is happening throughout the week. It's already fourth day. Raise hands who have been there every day since Monday. There are some brave people, okay? And the rest of you, welcome to the best event of the entire week. We are happy to be here in Tallinn. And we as Tartu University Institute of Computer Science running the data science seminars. I will talk about that in a sec. Next, we have not only me, but we have a very tight-packed set of top lecturers dealing with the data analytics in different ways. We hear from the companies, from the service offering companies, from the fintech, banks, and the session is finished by Meelis Kull, Professor of AI at Tartu University. We have also ample of time for discussions on the panel with all the lecturers, we have panel session at the end. And the lectures are not the most important part of this event. There will be a break, and after the event, we will, for at least an hour, we will have another gathering, discussion, mingling. We will have snacks and drinks served. Without longer delay in the beginning, yes, toilets are there, exits are there, I don't need to say any of that. Bus to Tartu leaves at 9 o'clock. I don't need to say that at the moment. Let's go to my part of presentation. I'm host and I need to time myself. That's a tough challenge. First, I noticed that I dropped science from my title. It's the day of data science, but somehow you see the font did not fit, so we dropped the science part, data and AI. I'm proud to say that we run this event regularly, and this is the 42nd time we have session like this, but first time in Tallinn. First time out of Tartu, otherwise it's the 42nd time that we run this type of event since 2016, and that means on average 4 to 6 times a year. This is the full list. The small print is on the web. You can see all the events that have happened since 2016, 23rd of November. Machine learning is the bottom of the left list. And just highlighting some of the key topics that we have covered. So it's not, the events are not very, how to say, we keep changing the application areas, the foci, focus points of the seminars, and they always take this similar approach that 2 sessions, lecturers from university and the companies. So this is the place to meet with the companies and universities represented by researchers and students. Okay, I will not list all the, you can go to the web. What kind of the title today asks for is to talk about research, education, and I would say impact or path to innovation, path to company growth. And this is a tough challenge. What the university does, it seems so simple. Oh, we teach bachelor's programs, 1 bachelor program, 200 plus intake, 4 major programs at the Masters of Science level, data science, computer science, software engineering, and conversion masters in IT. And then after that, PhD. Throughout these programs, more and more knowledge is gained. And throughout these programs, people are trained for the job market, right? The scale on the bottom right, you can see that we have actually tripled our student numbers, while all the other disciplines, all the other departments through the Estonia basically have dropped. They have 30% less students because we started the growth when Estonian population numbers started to go down after the drop in the early 90s. So over the time, I strongly believe that the skills are growing, and the areas of the boxes roughly indicate the number of people in there, except PhD. The scale 1,500 students studying at 3 levels of education. Actually, PhD students are researchers who do actually perform research. We have about 100 academic staff to teach across all IT subfields, programming, cybersecurity, theory, natural language processing, etc. And 1,500 students. If you think over the 5 years' time, all the students are gone through the system, right? 5 years, 1,000 to 1,500 students are out in the job market. And the university has 100 people working still, the academic staff, professors, associate professors, etc. And we have some non-academic who are research software engineers, some data engineers, admin support, high-performance computing support on top of that. So 120 PhD students who are researchers, really, and this is the scale. By the way, if you're interested, then statistica.ut.e has full dashboards. And research, I did not mention in here research. The impact, I believe that actually research produces new knowledge. And while doing research, during the master studies or PhD studies, people learn how to discover new knowledge. So this is really important, that you produce knowledge, but more importantly, so you learn to produce new knowledge. And based on the research, we can give good education. This also includes practical information that comes back from the industry, etc. Education relies on research, knowledge, and practice. And then this is a little bit, but what the university does, where the impact comes, it's these graduates who go to the job market. And as I told you, in 10 years, there will be 3,000 graduates and 100 or so people working at the university. So impact is made by the 3,000 people on the job market in 10 years' time, not only the university, 100 people, right? So this is very important. I'm a curriculum manager for data science program. This is our structured 2-year program. We have base modules, methods, specializations. Each one contains credit points, the different courses. What I wanted to show in here is what is a base that everybody must have. And this is data science methods. Trivial, right? Data science curriculum has to teach something about data science basics. Machine learning, basis of AI. Data engineering, basis on how to handle data. Then visualization and storytelling, and also the legal, ethical aspects of managing data. At the times of GDPR and AI acts and all of these acts, it's really important. So this is the base, but then after that, everybody can select their path to one or the other direction. And that is also really important. What I wanted to highlight, for example, even though data science doesn't mention directly AI in the subject, then the list of AI machine learning courses, and this is the list of courses, it is not the complete list. There are still some on top of that, but these are the courses that we are running on the annual basis. Machine learning 2, neural networks, transformers, deep learning for image analysis, explainable AutoML, AI and natural intelligence, new courses coming in machine learning operations, MLOps. So there is a lot of machine learning and AI related topics. So data and AI, what the program really has is AI, data science, and data engineering. All of these can be learned through the master's curriculum. And our PhD students are taking it, and some bachelor students are taking them as well. And other disciplines like software engineering or computer science, they are taking the similar courses if they wish. Now, surprise, University is a public entity, and these courses are available to everybody. Who has not yet studied these courses, you can come to the university and say that, I want to study this one specific course. We send you an invoice, you get registered, you can study. Yeah? Any single course is available. There is a little bit of bureaucracy handling, if you can get through that. Secondly, we are packaging some of these courses together to modules, which we call micro-degrees. So modules of courses. When you do the bulk buying, you get cheaper price. Otherwise, individual courses, and you can still choose out of them. So this kind of summarizes that university does offer continued education, individual courses. On the left, they seem slightly, like about programming, how to program, and then you jump into tough neural networks course. Actually, you can take most of these courses at any stage when you have skills to start them. And micro-degree programs are just packaging some of these courses together in bundles. Yet you can choose data science bundle, you can choose AI bundle, or cloud native, DevOps. I think most of the courses are taught in English, but some of the courses in data science and AI also in Estonian, so they seem as if they are Estonian language-based modules, but most of the courses actually are taught in English. So, research and development and innovation. We work at the university in tight collaboration with the companies. I think this distinction, what the universities do and what companies do is quite important. And in a way, if you think of some topic or question that takes more than 5 years to get through, right? This does not fit any company. By that time, the company focus may be shifted. There are pivots all the time. Maybe this question becomes irrelevant. Maybe some other competitor has already stepped forward in that front. But on the other extreme, if project is short, just test it out 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, very clear business indicators. That is for company itself to solve, right? And then somewhere in the between, we have these sweet spots where we should seek collaborations because we have infinite pool of talent. New people, students are coming in. We have researchers, kind of on a continuous basis, new talent enters the job market. And these different students from different levels, they can help in these various research questions. So if you think universities do the basic research and not the products, then there is a death valley. How do you take conceptual idea through the product development, different TRL levels to the product? Then claim is that Estonia also has MetroCert. Maybe there are some national labs. And then on the right, industry commercializes. I was thinking, okay, it sounds also trivial, but actually students are taking these ideas from the idea to the product close level, because they start from the theoretical concepts, ideas, solutions, and they try them out in the practical fashion. So this is the student talent pool I'm talking about. University, also although I show big numbers, actually is very small. If I say that we have 100 academic people teaching, doing research, and leading the research group, supervising students, PhD students, compared to Estonian IT industry, this is very, very small. Or state IT services, still very small. Information and people flow from university to the industry, and relatively little comes back. Very few people, almost no people who have entered industry come back to work at university, right? So information flow back is relatively thin. And maybe this is one thing to think about, how to make that feedback loop a bit stronger by bringing back to university your knowledge, your practical examples, your questions. This is very important for Estonian companies to think about that. It cannot be just one-way street. You can collaborate with the university in many different schemes. We can be also quite flexible to tailor these collaborations. But of course, as said, university does perform R&D, does help with the consultations if needed. So bring your questions in, and then university can try to do the best to help you. There can be joint projects to perform at the PhD level or master's student level. Different courses are waiting for some company interests, example data sets or thesis topics, and of course also internships. This is important that companies bring back to university. And one of these schemes, I'm proud to say, is that we can arrange almost a year-long agreement, student, company, university, where you can see different companies have been participating, where the students, they enter to the company, they understand their business needs, understand the questions, topics, develop them, write their master's thesis. They bring and develop new ideas. For companies, it's a branding issue as well, and you can also onboard people. So the students get paid not a salary, but a scholarship, and this only costs you 1,700 per month. More information is at our email, csbusiness.ut. I'll come back to that. Secondly, you are eager to hire, right? Eager to recruit. This is something that we run on the annual basis, career days, big fair in Tartu, sports hall, fully filled with the companies, and about 1,000 students visiting every year on these fairs. So that's how companies get exposure to students as well. And the next one is being planned, so the time to sign up is very, very soon. Okay, my timing. I wanted to say something about the health data really briefly. I'm professor of bioinformatics. We are currently working with the health data, and there is also the imaging radiology on this life sciences domain. But just to give you an example, what we make is that you know the Estonian IT architecture, X-road and everything. This is meant to servicing one individual person in the system. But what we want to do is analyzable data like business intelligence on the health data, data warehouses, so we're using the international data models. And what that gives us is the power when different people have their data in these almost common formats, structures, vocabularies, then the same code will be running at each site across different countries, different systems. And that's where we can share the methods, the code, and the new methods that we develop will be used by other collaborators or just anybody. So that's what we do. And also we want to train all kinds of machine learning models to basically, from your past histories, to predict futures as much as possible, to identify higher risk patient groups, understand better diseases or treatments. Why I showed this is you have heard about Mario Draghi report on European competitiveness. So these terms in here, Eden, Darwin, beyond 1 million genomes, sharing the electronic health data, is all in that report actually. And these are the people who work at the university to do so. Young people, about 5 academic staff, software engineers, 10 PhD students, and this crowd teaches every year close to 15 bachelor master theses on these topics. So this is the output, people who go to the various jobs in the market. So I'm close to finishing my part. If you think of the Delta, where we work in Tartu, in the original branding, we also see immediately that we wanted to bring in people through teaching and research, produce outputs, people, knowledge and innovation paths. Thank you so much. The slide was taken away, but this cs.business@ut.e is our business development team. Raise your hands or show where you are in here. Please view their organizing committee. So whenever you are interested about these programs, different approaches, then they are eager to talk to you over the breaks. Okay, now I see that I went myself a little bit over time. Do I have a good question? For questions, we need microphones. Okay, I know the way how to shut you down, that only good questions are allowed. So I don't want to delay, because the next speaker is Kristjan Jansons, is ready to take over the stage and tell how they help different companies in machine learning, AI, data science projects. Kristjan, please.
Hello, thank you for inviting, and thank you for everybody who has come. So, a few hopefully useful tips and tricks from, let's say, practitioners. I hope you find something useful. Obviously, there are a lot of tips and tricks out there, so I'm not going to go over all of them, but maybe some which still sometimes amaze that people do not follow. But about me, so I'm Kristjan Jansons, CEO of MindTitan, also educated in University of Tartu, so at least in theory I should know a bit of data science as well. Although I haven't written code myself for some time, but I hope that's okay. But why does MindTitan exist? So basically our mission is to help governments and businesses discover their AI potential, and then we help bring it to life. And for them, it is seamless. We handle the complexity, so they don't have to. Obviously, behind the scenes, it's still quite complex and a big mess. But that's why we exist. And by now, I think there's more than 150 AI projects, so it's hard to find projects similar to which we have not done before. And we are very proud of our high success rate. And being from Estonia, also have to be proud of helping the Estonian government work with their AI strategy. And when we work, then obviously in the center of it, it's AI. But things don't start from there. It first starts with coming up with a strategy, validating the AI use cases, obviously everything connected to data, so the infrastructure, labeling, collection of it, because obviously you can't do it without. And people have to use it, or other systems have to use it. So doing everything connected to the applications, running the pilots. If the pilots are successful, then scaling them. So all of this is necessary to do the fancy part as well. And I think it's one third roughly between public sector, corporates, and startups. But how to be successful with AI? So first, it's what should you even do? How to even decide? Obviously, if you're building some startup, then that's some arcane magic, very tricky. How do you even come up with something? A bit luck as well. But you can always, at least with existing organizations, also try to do it a bit in a systematic way. So you basically can go two approaches. One is through the processes, basically map out, understand all the most crucial processes, and basically with the help of AI experts, then understand in which of those processes could you use AI in a reasonably good manner. Or the other option is the parallel track. You don't have to do one. You educate the people, and then you start to gather ideas, because when you go for those processes, as an outsider, you will never understand them so well as the people who actually work in those organizations. And basically, you make them brainstorm ideas. Okay, now that you more or less understand what are the possibilities of AI, then where could you actually take advantage of it? And then you work with them, basically gathering these ideas and understanding, what's the gap between the current state and the future magical AI state where things work magically. And you understand, what's the difference from the business side, from the data side, from the application side, and from the infrastructure side. And then you can understand, what's the, how to assess it both from a business and from the technical feasibility side. And then, you make the decisions of, I'm not going to go for AI because it just doesn't make sense. Either, there's no business case here, or it doesn't make sense technologically. You might also see that, okay, this is a very nice place where you can just give them access to some LLM and go for it, because it's so non-standard that AI can still help, and it might be different LLMs, because based on the domain you might prefer one or the other. But there's no point in going for some automation, standardized automation, let's say. Then there are places where you're like, okay, just go for some product that's already out there, or you see those quick wins. Let's say a few weeks, or maybe in some cases a few months, and then you have these harder and more beneficial ones where you have to go for some very custom ones. Obviously, a lot of these, let's say, from the bottom two, the quick wins or custom AI solutions, that's where you can also spin off some startups, perhaps, if you are lucky enough to in finding those places. Because trust me, all sort of these corporates and actually also the public sector, they have a lot of, let's say, boring use cases which are very important to solve. I mean, if you go into them, then they actually turn out to be quite interesting, but on the surface they might not look so fancy at first. And what are some other indicators? Obviously, it's routine, if it's standard, if you can create a feedback loop to learn from, because if you can't learn, then it's very hard to do anything. And from the business side, but also a bit from the data generation side, if it's executed often, and then there's two sides of the same coin, whether people just don't have enough time to make these decisions, or just the human brain cannot take into account so many different data points to do quality decisions. And, to sum this part up, you do have to start with a good problem, and do think of the prioritization as well. Because I think at the moment what's happening a lot is that people see, I got this subscription to this, and let's go for this. Let's go for this use case. Let's go for the other use case. But you haven't taken a look at the bigger picture. What are all the different use cases, and which of those has the best potential if it is a success. And then you have to do some prioritization and picking out the best one first. Because if you don't do that, then it might turn out that, you do implement something, but then it's, not as fancy as some other things might have been, and then maybe the management is a bit disappointed. But let's say, you found something good, you think it's a good one, let's go for it. So what else should you think about first before, starting? Trust me, how others have solved it. Sometimes people, already are in love with the problem and already come up with a nice solution that they don't even, bother to Google, but maybe somebody else has already done it in a maybe not so complicated way as I would. And also, what I mean on the upstream and downstream is that, when you have like a big process somewhere and you wish to do something with AI, then obviously there's something before. So in the upstream, somebody's maybe preparing some data, maybe even from another business or organization, and they have to do something differently if you're going to come with your AI solution. And also from the downstream, if you're going to build this, then somebody has to now digest this, use this. So how are they going to do this? And when initially maybe your AI project looks like, 10,000 euro project, then when you take all this upstream and downstream and also maintenance into account, then it very quickly might turn into some €500,000 project, and then maybe people are not that interested anymore. And if it's human in loop, then do include end users, not because, obviously also because you have to think about this UX, UI side as well, but also because they will know details that you do not. And if you do not take those things into account, then it's very easy to build something that's almost useful, but actually not really when actually start to try to use it with them in the end. So you think you know how, you have come up with a project of how to execute it. So how to now should talk with somebody else as well in the organization. And obviously the answer is yes, but maybe why? So if you do work with creating an area strategy and/or a data strategy, then what's the benefit is that a lot of these assets that you're going to create while you build one project, it turns out that very often you can reuse this in another part of the organization. So if you have a wider picture of what's going on in the organization, then it, for example, in one organization, to automate one process with AI, it turned out that you can also automate almost in the same way 2 other processes. From the business side, they didn't look that similar, but from an AI perspective, they were basically the same. You have to set up the same system, the same data flows, the same logic, and actually you can, instead of one process, you can automate 3 processes, and that's kind of nice. But if you wouldn't have known this, then you would have ended up with 1 use case instead of 3. And also, obviously, you cannot endlessly avoid silos, but as much as possible, it's a good thing to do. And obviously, management buy-in as well, because there are a lot of projects which get stuck in this pilot phase. So there's a chasm between going from doing like a nice pilot and then getting into production when you actually have to make people work differently. And sometimes this might not be a democratic process, but somebody just has to say, yeah, we're going to do this, and suck it up, because now you have to use a different tool and a different way of working, but it has to be sold first to the management. And but if they're there from day one, then that's much easier to do than later on. And obviously, when you do these projects, then you have to do different tests. You might pivot, maybe not completely, but maybe like 20%. And all of this requires that the management is on board. And obviously, just exiting from some projects where you see that, okay, sorry, it doesn't work out. Let's not try this. Let's go for something else. And this shouldn't be demotivating to everybody, but it should be a normal part of the process. And what else is good to know? So getting from idea to production, it's still very complicated. It's still very difficult. Obviously, things have gotten easier, but you still have to, include experts where it does make sense. And but you also have to. I think there's also the possibility to imagine more, be more, let's say, courageous, because thanks to developments in LLMs, but obviously elsewhere as well, a lot more use cases are doable now, meaning that the cost of implementation has come down, and due to this, you can actually implement a lot more AI use cases out there, and that's nice, I think. But when you do go for those LLMs where the implementation cost is lower, then do not get stuck in one. Or let's say, do not build your application in a way that it's kind of like reliable on one. Build it so that you have already from day one built tests where you can measure the performance. You can switch between the LLMs because none of us know which is going to be the best for some domain in 6 months, and then it should be relatively easy to switch between them. Not just because you don't know which is going to be the best, but also because at the moment, it looks like the lifetime for one version is going to be roughly 2 years. So what are you going to do in 2 years when it's going to get discontinued? So you should be ready for it, before 1 week before. So it's all doable. So yeah, just do it. While you will definitely run into problems where you have this Dave that you have to find, because these technical and organizational issues are going to be always out there. And when you plan for things, then take into account that if the initial timeline is maybe 12 months, then it might be 16 months instead of this. You have to plan for these unexpected things, and obviously nowadays also the not just the technical and organization, but also the legal side. I know it's a bit annoying, mostly. but a necessary evil, I guess. But don't worry, you'll manage, because all of these things are, they shouldn't be viewed as a blocker, but just things to take into account in today's world. So yeah, I think thank you. I hope I managed.
The same procedure. Wait for microphone in front.
Hi, Kristjan. Thank you for the insightful and inspirational presentation. So I'm cheating because I have 2 questions to you. Number 1 would be, which LLMs are you using more often nowadays? And what are the benchmarks that you look at in order to decide which one you're going to use for a particular task? That's one. And the other one would be, can you share some difficult decisions or decisions that turned out to be bad or painful back in the beginning when you guys started out? Thank you.
Okay. So the first one, I would say the same point that we try not to prefer, but build things in a way that it's easy to switch. I think, but in reality, if you ask from that perspective, then let's say for general purpose, it's probably Gemini. For coding assist at the moment, it's Claude. Obviously, in some places we also use these cursor or lovable type platforms as well. So it's very case specific. Also, especially if you go into specific domains, I mean, like education, for example, then let's say in domain specific areas. It's very, sometimes one is better, sometimes the other is better. So it's very dependent. You just have to build up the framework of testing. So you have to figure out, how are you going to create your golden set on which you're going to evaluate things. So that's kind of the tricky part. And that needs to, that's a place where you always have to invest. So I think that's more or less the first one answered.
Yeah, so I suppose you have like a framework of benchmarks that you're looking at. So it's like sort of historically acquired by your experiences, right? Or just you're looking at speed, capability, and that's that in a current situation and the current use case, of course.
Do you mean like do we look at some public benchmarks?
Yes.
I mean, yeah, we look at them, but in practice we still evaluate it based on the use cases that we're actually working with, because the public benchmark might mean nothing there. Let's say the general domain, I think it's at some point it's going to be more or less the same for all the big ones. But the domain-specific benchmarks, I think they might differ a lot for a very long time, and it might be that some companies are going to specialize more in one place and others in other places, and I think there's also going to be differences due to their business models in general, because obviously some domains are going to have a better business case than the others, and then you're gonna just have to look at the business models of the companies themselves, because obviously OpenAI at the moment, at least, I guess it has a bigger money problem than Google. So yeah.
What about on-premises installations, self-hosted? Are you recommending anything?
We always, usually let's say we have done them, but usually how those conversations go are so that they really want it, and then you kind of like, okay, but don't you already have everything in Teams and Outlook? And then like, oh yeah, so maybe we can actually use cloud. So
okay.
For the second one, I don't know. I think there's a lot, but maybe just standardize as much as possible. Yeah, so it is possible, although maybe back then it wasn't that possible. Now it's much easier. There are a lot more tools.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
Question over there.
Thank you. I have a question. I really like that you said, choose processes that have feedback loops, or maybe you said design feedback loops into your AI projects. So I just wanted you to, can you remind us all why feedback loops are so important for AI implementations, and what's your particular experience in choosing or designing these well? Thank you.
I think there is no one solution fits all, but obviously the best is if it's just logically in the system. In a sense, I got here in Bolt, and then the Bolt can learn how much their ETA was off or not. That's very very automatic feedback, and other times you have to pay somebody very low money to automatically or manually validate some things. So sometimes that is also unavoidable. So there's no one solution fits all.
It's complicated. It always is. But I will cut the questions at the moment in here to stay in time. We will have, during the panel, we have more questions. Thank you, Kristjan. Next, we move to have an inside peek from the bank. Stefano Ciaci from SEB Bank will talk about the internals, please.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Stefano, and I'm from Italy, if the name doesn't say that I'm not Estonian. I came from the world of mathematics before, and then after that I transitioned into data science, and I'm currently working as a data scientist at SEB in Tallinn. So what I would like to do today is to share how we use data science, data and AI in general at SEB, and also considering the conference that we are in, a challenge that me and some colleagues have been currently working on, just to see something a bit maybe more practical. So first of all, at SEB, we see data as a core asset, and we are data-driven and customer-centric. And we use data not just for business growth, but also for automation and making sure that we stay compliant with regulations. So, in addition, we also work closely with the University of Tartu, and I thought I would show you just some very quick examples of works that have been done in collaboration. So, for example, we have had some machine learning. These are mostly capstone projects or a master thesis. And just to give you some examples, the machine learning was used for corporate balance forecasting and customer segmentation, or also for company growth forecasting, or predicting future unicorns from looking at cash flow and financial data of the company, and tools for handling sensitive data, and also ethical use data in banking. And this was a collaboration, I think, with the Department of Philosophy from the university, actually. So I promised that I would talk about one challenge or project that I've been working on, and I will give you a little bit of a background of where this problem comes from and why we had to tackle it. So in the process, imagine that we are in a process of a financing request. So let's say that we have a customer coming to the bank, and this could be a small, medium enterprise or a corporate, and that let's use, for the sake of an example, let's say that Maxima wants to open a new store and they need financing. So they come at SEB and asking for a loan or some kind of financing option. There is an initial screening, meaning checking if the application is done correctly. Then there is data collection, checking for financial statements, and other type of external data. Then this data is evaluated and analyzed by analysts, and all the results are put into a document that is called a credit report, which is then used to make a final decisions. Do we give the money or not? What I want to talk about today, it's something that lives in the middle. It's not exactly on any of these phases, but it's something in the middle between data collection and this risk analysis. What is this? Is competitor selection. In this example that I'm bringing today is going to be a bit silly, but you imagine it for less known companies. So if the company is Maxima, we want to know, okay, who are the competitors? Would be Rimi, Kohv. We want to identify who are the competitors of the company. Why would we even want to do this? Well, first of all, it's useful for benchmarking, having someone to compare it to see how is the company doing inside of its industry in general. And also so that we can compare it. Are they doing financially similarly to other companies, similar companies, or not? Or even better. It can be useful also for, again, having some comparison. We can evaluate at the sector as a whole, and also for calibrate risk better. And it's also useful so that it's easier to justify your decision. For example, if you say that similar companies have done really well, then we have reason to believe that another similar company will do still well. So, as I said, the challenge is we have the company and we want to just find the competitors. So we tried, I will show you two approaches. One is the right approach and one is the wrong approach. We will start with the right approach. The right approach is let's say that we have our company, Maxima, and we want to look at their NACE codes or some other parameters like the geography location. The NACE code is like a code identifier that describes the business in a very concise way. So we want to, in geographical location, maybe we are looking at the Baltics or Estonia, let's say just Estonia, and other parameters. So now what we do is that we collect companies that are in the same NACE code, same geographical location, and so on. After finding the candidates, then we compare the companies looking at financial metrics and other relevant metrics. For example, turnover, number of employees. According to the industry, the way of comparison will always be different. And then we will have a list of the competitors. We will look maybe, for example, the most similar ones and see if we are satisfied with the result. If we are not satisfied with the result, we iterate. What it means is that, okay, then if that NACE code didn't work, let's try to extend it to other different codes, similar ones. Let's extend the geographical location from the Estonia to the Baltics. If the Baltics is not enough, to EU and so on. I call this the right way, but it was misleading because this doesn't work. We tried it, it's the right way, meaning that it's deterministic, it's a set of rules, but the reality is a data quality issue. And concretely, especially when we look at these NACE codes, they are not reliable. Companies with the same NACE codes, you would never call them competitors. They do completely different type of businesses. And companies that you would think of them as competitors, they would have completely different NACE codes. So there is in general, a lot of data quality issues, and so a set of fixed rules that doesn't seem to work. So what we tried instead of using the correct way, we decided to use the wrong way, LLMs. Of course, in a bit more finer way, but basically asking whatever model you're talking to, hey, can you tell me the competitors of this company? A bit better than this, but more or less. And but we rely on the internal knowledge of the LLM. And sometimes when I say that we rely on the internal knowledge of the LLMs, I realize that sometimes this creates some confusion. Some people think that we are looking at documents, internal documents. No, we rely on the knowledge that is inside of the LLM. And to try to explain very quickly what I mean by this, I will give a very brief explanation of where this knowledge is. So probably you are aware of a very famous paper that had a similar title. And I like saying that it's not all you need attention, because at least in that paper, but in most transformer architectures, only 1/3 of the parameters are in the attention mechanism. 2/3 of the train parameters are somewhere else. Maybe you have seen, this is like a very zoomed in version of the transformer architecture. And we have the attention mechanism, but what we have at the end, it's a densely connected artificial neural network. That component at the end, it's what I call more or less 2/3 of the parameters of the whole thing. So one way, at least nobody knows how LLMs actually work, but the way at least that I like thinking about it is that the attention mechanism is the part that has the understanding of grammar, semantics. It understands how the words connect to each other. But where is the knowledge that Maxima is a competitor of Rimi? Where is this? This is not in the grammar. This is stored somewhere else. In this case, it would be in that densely connected layers. Maybe the two companies, the two tokens, would highlight the same path in the neural network. So this was a little bit of a talk of why this works, why you can rely on the internal knowledge of the LLM. But we started with a deterministic algorithm, and it didn't work. So we said, okay, data quality was an issue. So we had to go to a probabilistic approach, in particular using LLMs. But now we have this output that it will be full maybe of hallucinations and all other problems of LLMs. It will be a probabilistic result. So now we would like to try to recover as much as possible the deterministic component of this. So here I just give a couple of things that we have done or that can be done more, but just to give you an idea maybe for some examples. Well, since we are looking at company names, one of the most common hallucinations that one can see is that legal designators, the LLMs give them away for free anywhere. So stripping them usually is just a good idea. Output parser are always a good idea in general. The LLM will output just a string, a raw piece of text, and having it in a structure format like a list, a JSON, whatever, is always a necessary step. Then, what is the challenge? We have the names that the LLM will give as an output, and we have the names, the official legal names of the companies in the business registry. So we have to link them. One way to try to link them, and these are like 3 steps. One is more advanced and costlier and slower than the other, so it's better to start from the first one, to try to match these names. One is, there is, luckily for us, this is not a new problem. There is fuzzy search algorithms that can be helpful in this context. If they don't work, one, for the companies for which fuzzy search doesn't work, one can even go for text embeddings. They can help. Sort of a RAG system in which every vector in the index is basically just a company name. So not usual chunking that you will have normally. And the last most expensive method that one can use is probably agent scraping. So you can even have an agent giving the company of the name that had been generated by the LLM, give this agent the ability to search online, search in the business registry, and let him do his magic, and hopefully after some time you will have the name of the company as in the business registry. So to wrap it up, At SCB, we aim to use data in a responsibly and effective way to create value for customer and the bank. The project, I shared a project with you, is just one example of how this vision turns into practice. These challenges are never solved alone, of course. Collaboration with the university, with stakeholders, with the experts in the areas is always an important component of any project. Looking ahead, we see even more potential for data science to drive innovation and automation and hopefully make better decisions. So, thank you.
Thank you. While you are thinking questions, so this looking inside the model, you have to have self-hosted models. You really are looking at activations within the network.
Yes.
Okay. In front in here.
Yes, thank you for the presentation. My name is Konstantin, and I have an idea and a question together. So the example you showed, I started to think about who are competitors, right? So competitors are the ones who basically serve the same clients, right?
Yes.
So you're a bank and you have all the transactions for the clients and all the transactions for the suppliers. Why not group the companies who serve the same clients and you have the competitors? That's it.
That could be an idea, but one of the problems, well, first of all, we don't have everyone is not our customer, unfortunately. But another problem is that sometimes these companies are relatively small, so they are almost non-existent or like financially almost non-existent. So in that case, it would be really complicated. And there are different methods. Basically, what we are trying to do is just to offer faster automated solutions to a system that currently already exists. Like let's put it this way, according to internal knowledge, this is the way, they have already experimented with different systems, and this is, according to them, the correct way to do things. We are just trying to automate as much as possible these procedures.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Can I ask about one process within the bank? How do you decide which topics to hand out to the collaboration with the university and which ones to just quickly implement inside?
Tough questions. I think you might be asking to the wrong person, but I think it's also a matter of there are some projects that have ideas, and it's also up to the students probably also to choose them. But for the initial selection, it's also probably a matter of time and how innovative it is. So usually probably there is an obvious answer to that.
Okay. There.
Hey, I imagine that in the end you will have to apply some weights. For instance, how would you weigh a rising company in a fragile industry or vice versa?
Just to clarify, you mean in the whole procedure, not about the selection itself? You mean for making a credit final decision? Okay. It's a bit more of an art than a science, the credit decision. The creating the report, it's maybe a bit closer to a science than an art. Like there is things that you want to search for, but to be honest, in a sense, the final decision, it's a combination of the report, which will also include like how the industry is doing, but also conversation that you have had with the company itself. A lot of the decisions actually are taken in this way. Of course, I mean, just to say that there is not like a formula, so that there is just a weight, some exact numbers that can be given on how to weight the whole industry. But of course, the whole industry is extremely important. If it's an industry that is declining, that is gonna be really impactful according to how it is. Or if it's not ESG or similar things.
Hello, thank you. My question, the first question was, why do you do so little? Like, why don't you use transaction data? My question is, why do you do so much? Because, like, let's say transaction data would be a secret between the client, the company, and you. Like a free parties hold that secret. I guess the internal knowledge about the companies is also the knowledge of the competitors of your credit wisher. So how do you, the question would be like this, that how do you come to those obstacles that you can't use such data because of the privacy concerns? Have you had such obstacles to bump into?
Well, of course, the privacy, it's an issue in the moment in which you throw it at an LLM via an API call or something. But if you're doing some other things a bit locally, then
no,
it's not an issue.
I mean more like let's say some kind of a Bank Secrecy Act, like that the data of your customers' competitors is with you, and thus it's a secret from the competitors.
Mm-hmm.
Have you bumped into this?
No, we personally haven't, but usually it's up to the, I don't want to say discretion, but it's up to the responsibility of the customer executive that deals with this. It's up to him, but to probably separate. And at the end of the day, banking, it's a lot about trusting. So you want to have, do the business with your customer in a way that they can trust you. So you just do it over and over until they believe that you do.
You can aggregate there and get averages. You're not dealing with the competitors directly.
Yeah, if it's aggregate, of course you can, but using internal knowledge.
Okay, back in there. Okay, the last question.
Yeah, thanks for the talk. So basically my question is about the last slide. So you brought in embeddings, so why not just embed the company with its like business offerings and products? Why just embed the name itself? Then you can get competitors from the embedding space, no?
When I said at least in that, I mean
like my question is more from the side that why you rely on offline LLM. Why not just scrape the info from wherever you have and embed it, and then you have direct clusters?
It's probably more than just the name of the company. He doesn't want to disclose, I guess.
Well, one quick answer would be it's definitely faster and cheaper.
Okay.
And the results are good enough.
Thank you, Stefano.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next up, we move to the telecom. Kohv is currently at Telia, please. And she has also studied at the university and worked at the bank as well.
Good evening. I've been a bit alone for the past few years because I have done competitive machine learning, and for some reason I haven't known many people to do that in Estonia. So raise your hand if you have ever done competitive machine learning. Well, okay. 2, 3, okay. 4? Okay, 4. We have 4. Oh, 5. Okay, it's getting better. Okay. I hope you can add me as your friend on LinkedIn so we can connect and so that I won't feel as alone. My hope is that I will inspire you to try out machine learning competitions. And I will also tell you a bit about my work as a GenAI engineer, because that is who I am during the day. Now, 10 years ago, when I was 20 years old, you can do the calculation, I was on a track of becoming a lawyer. I went to law school, I did my bachelor's, I did my master's degree, and I had never written a line of code. And now the issue is that I got interested in machine learning. So what should you do? You're a lawyer, you're practicing law, and you are giving advice to these smart people doing machine learning on the legal aspects. You know, you can do this, but you cannot do that because of privacy law. So that is why I started learning programming. I did computer science and machine learning courses online. And 3 years ago, I got into data science master's program at University of Tartu. And a fun fact, I barely made it in because for some reason, someone gave a low score to my motivational letter. And I mean, I was so motivated. I felt so motivated. And I don't know, Jaak, maybe you can comment it later. But I seriously, I only got in because I had quite a good grade, like average grade, in my bachelor's study at law. So we imagine that. And also, I got in and started my studies at data science master's 2 weeks after I had my second baby. So I was there, like, you know, breastfeeding during the exams. They're just doing my exam, looking at the clock, then running to the school, place where we had our meals, breastfeeding, and then running back to the exam. So that was my life for a while, but not anymore. Now I am GenAI engineer at Telia. I don't practice law anymore. I also don't breastfeed anymore. Just for you to understand. I hope you don't feel uncomfortable. And I'm very happy that I've also done machine learning competitions for a few years because I have learned a lot. And I am now a Kaggle machine learning competitions master, and I am 47th worldwide in, yeah. Thanks. But during the day, I work at Telia. This is Telia headquarters. Telia is part of Telia company. We operate in the Nordics as well as in the Baltics. And we have mobile, broadband, TV, and IT services. I first joined Telia as a data science intern. So that was more than 2 years ago, in the beginning of June. But in reality, what I did was machine learning with a focus in natural language processing. I fine-tuned BERT models. I did simpler text processing to create text-based models, text-based solutions. But now, since last year, we have focused more and more on LLMs. So it was decided to break up the data scientists into data scientists who do traditional machine learning and GenAI engineers. So now we have 2 data scientists. Hi to Mono back there in the last row. And we have 3 GenAI engineers, as well as 4 interns who I mentor. Worldwide, there are quite many machine learning competitions to pick from. Last year, there were more than 400 different competitions. The total prize money awarded to competitors exceeded $22 million. And there are actually quite a variety of platforms. I think the most popular ones are here. Here, the bars mean number of competitions, and the small dots mean median prize money per official competition. I've never participated in CodaLab competitions, but I have done Kaggle and Crunch DAO. Yeah, I hope you can Google it as well. I will tell you more about Kaggle, okay? So Kaggle last year had 44 competitions and awarded more than $4 million in prize money. A few screenshots from Kaggle. So there are a variety of areas you can pick. There are computer vision competitions, there are tabular competitions, there are competitions from life sciences, like biology, like geography. You can do competitions related to Ariel's mission and exoplanets. You can do NLP and LLM competitions. Here is just one example of an ongoing competition. You can look at brain scans and train your model to segment these images and detect the correct place where there has been aneurysm, okay? You can also train a model to classify student misconceptions about math. You can train a model to solve a puzzle it has never seen before. In Kaggle, you can do competitions, but not only that. It's a platform for machine learning and data science, really. So you don't have to compete. You can also share code, share data sets, share your ideas, ask questions. And if you participate in competitions and you earn good places, then you can get medals which count towards tires. So to get to be a master, for example, you need at least 1 gold and 2 silver medals. In September, I won for the first time a big code competition together with my teammate Ali from Israel. And just to give some perspective, here on the 4th place is NVIDIA's team. And yeah, I know. And I mean, NVIDIA has special people whose work is doing competitions. So this was like a big milestone for me. And also, getting prize money is also nice. So yeah, we both got $20,000 for that. Yeah, yeah. So the total prize pool was $100,000. Yeah. So why do it beside the prizes, of course? To realize that failure is your friend in learning. If you want to try out, if you get motivated by my presentation, I really hope you do, then the first competition is probably gonna go horribly, okay? Be prepared for that, be prepared to fail. And then the next competition is gonna be bad, but not horrible, okay, hopefully. And then step by step, we will learn, you will get better. You will learn also a lot about the topic, about the models, about the methods. And then you will get better. You will learn fast and systematic experimentation. Because when you compete in machine learning, you cannot be just, tinkling around with your method for a month and not like changing much, maybe some hyperparameter tuning, okay? That's not enough. You have to experiment a lot, try a different range of idea, because the ones who are in the top are usually the ones who have experimented the most. Also, building a good validation strategy. Not overfitting, not having data leakage. These are the lessons that you will learn. And maybe now you will think, that's easy. I've been a data scientist for a long time. Not gonna make any of those mistakes. Believe me, you will make some of these mistakes, maybe at least one, I promise you. Because, during the competition, you have a public leaderboard of the test set, but you don't see the test set, okay, when you're developing your model. So during the competition, you only see the score. And of course, our brain is like, I want to optimize this score, I want it to be as high as possible. But then the competition ends, boom, okay? And now the final scores will be determined by the private test set, the hidden test set, the score that no one has known. So this will be whether your model is able to generalize or not. And of course, you will learn about new methods, new emerging models that haven't made it to the industry yet, okay? But these are already used by competitors because they want to get an edge in the competition, okay? So they will try anything that's available, and they will look at the newest research papers, trying to get the best method for this problem. And also having fun, because, and I have to warn you, it can be addicting. So please, try to get some sleep, okay? Also, you will be able to build a network. There's lots of data scientists around the world. You'll be able to get to know each other. Now, some tips. Please, for the love of God, don't join a competition 2 days before it ends, okay? It's not going to be a good experience for you. You'll be stressed. You will be 3 hours before the deadline, thinking that, oh, I got such an amazing idea, but now the competition is ending, and I cannot, I won't be having enough time to really test out my ideas, okay? So the average length of a competition is usually 3 months. So it's good to join a competition 2 months before, so that someone has already, shared some code maybe, some public available code, will be sharing their ideas, maybe whether if the competition is good, is it bad in their opinion, like the quality of the labeling, for example. So 2 months before is good time. Also start with a simple pipeline. Okay, this is also one of the mistakes that beginners make. They want to go to the best, most powerful model at the start. No, don't do that, okay? Start with a very simple baseline. Simple model that will be fast, so that when you experiment, when you iterate, you will be able to get your result for the experiment in 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes, depending on how patient you are, okay? Some people are willing to wait for their big LLM to fine-tune in 2 days, and then they will see the results, whether it helped anything or not. Okay, I'm not that patient. So I will usually start with simpler models. Then be systematic, okay? When I mean experiment one thing, okay? Not don't add just a bunch of things in your code, run it, and then look at the result. Because you won't know what worked and what actually hurt the score if you do a bunch of things at the same time, okay? And that also means for LLM prompting. When you change the LLM prompt, change one thing at a time. Either add a Chinese translation of your prompt, or add a few short examples, but don't do like both at the same time, okay? Because you won't know what worked. Yep. Now the usual pipeline is like first do your exploratory data analysis. Like try not to skip it, okay? At least if there's some public available code and you're lazy, then just look at the EDA that someone else did, okay? But just look at it so that you're not running in the wrong direction in the beginning. Then there's data prep, feature engineering, modeling, post-processing, and submission. And then you do that over and over again, improving your feature engineering, your modeling, your post-processing, okay? And every day on Kaggle, you usually have 5 submissions, not more. And when you team up, there's maximum of 5 team members, then you have 5 submissions in total, okay? So you cannot just go crazy, do like 100 submissions a day. No, you have to limit yourself. Think, what are those 5 most important things to test? Then dig into the data, look at false predictions, okay? I still have time, Jaak, right? Oh, okay. It's not red. Oh, okay. I will skip the popular models because otherwise Jaak will be. But if you have like questions to me about these things, because I had like a few more ideas to share with you, you can just write to me on LinkedIn, okay? And maybe we'll share the slides later. Yes, we'll make them available. Okay, they will be available. Great. So yeah, no need to take photos. Competitive machine learning versus creating business value, because it was in the title. I will finish with that idea. That in competitions, you have to get the max out of your score, all right? So maybe you spend like the last month trying to improve that accuracy, to get that final few percent. Whereas in business, you usually need to create value fast and with low cost. Okay? So that is like the most important distinction, I would say. And I really hope, that if you have a talk towards competitive machine learning, that you follow the tag inside yourself, and that you will try. And even if the first experience is horrible, that you will remember that it will get better. You can make it, okay? Thank you.
Thank you. How much did you spend on compute out of your prize money? Who pays for compute?
Zero.
Explain.
Because Kaggle has free resources. So, for example, every week I have 45 hours of GPU to spend.
On Kaggle?
Yeah, on whatever you want. Kaggle doesn't ask you what you do there. You just, 45 free GPU hours, Let's go.
One question? 2 questions? 1? Kristo? No. We will have coffee break soon.
Thank you, Kea. Amazing presentation and congratulations. I am a data person. I'm interested. Do you measure also how much time do you spend per competition? So most importantly, what was the hourly rate for this competition where you won 20,000?
It was actually quite good. I think like more than $200 per hour or something like that. Yeah, but I think you also asked like. Do
you measure your time in general?
Yeah,
for the competition?
I don't really measure it. I don't put my hours in like I would have to at work. I more enjoy it. So yeah, I don't look at the clock,
When you are winning, you are enjoying it, definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have a question about the Telia's GenAI team. So the latest MIT report showed that only 5% of companies who put their budgets to GenAI, generate some profit from and like positive bottom line basically. So how I imagine like Telia has pretty good return of investment. So how do you choose in your team what actually brings value, and have you measured? And what is your process around making sure that you actually bring value, not just efficiency gains?
Enough.
I just decided, really, because the business person comes to me, they will tell me about their problem, and I will think about how complex it is and how much time it will be for us to create it, okay? So it's like, if it's a few hours of work, I am not much worried about it, okay? We will just try it out, call it an experiment. But if it's like months of work, I'm usually very careful to go into it.
Haley.
Okay, yeah, I have a follow-up on Krista's question. Have you thought about quitting your job and going full-time Kaggle competition person? Wouldn't it bring you joy and money?
I think one of the joy about doing these competitions is because I don't have to, It's just like, it's a hobby. I do it when I want to do it, And I like my job as well.
There is a famous psychological test that when you are paid, you lose your creativity. Okay, thank you, all the speakers. I am shifting our timeline by 5 minutes, so we will have not 1840, but 1845 back in here. And coffee break is upstairs, and Kohv is also there. The second half of today's seminar, we will hear 2 more presentations, and then we will bring everybody to the stage for panel discussion. So please think about the good questions. There might be some rewards for the best questions. Question has to have the meaning and be sharp, short. So I'm happy to invite to stage person who safeguards our money against all kinds of bad things. Actually, they are helping every bank. Hopefully, they want to help every bank in the business. Kadri Pirn from Salv, Vice President of Screening and Monitoring Business Unit. So she will tell about sanctions and AI. Please, Kadri.
Hi. Welcome, everybody. Who knows how many packages of sanctions EU has established against Russia? 16? 19? 25? The right answer is 18. January this year, the 16th, and July this year, 18th. Why it matters? Well, we want to protect us against terrorists, right? That's the reason. So I'm Kadri. I'm a happy alumni from Tartu University as well. I'm Mait 98, who knows and can calculate as well. And as Tea was saying that she started the studies when the baby was 2 weeks old, and I graduated and I graduated when my baby was 2 weeks old. So that's kind of connection with Tea, I guess, and Tartu University. But now, years later, I'm not a computer scientist anymore. I have been more into analyst and product management and people leadership. And currently, I'm leading the business unit at Salv. And what Salv is doing, it's a Estonian startup, 7 years old already. And we are fighting with financial crime. So our mission is to beat financial crime globally through collaboration and through efficiency. So our brand pillars, or how we are building up our product, is mostly about trust, efficiency, and collaboration. Today I'm talking about sanctions because that is the cornerstone of any anti-money laundering. And why it matters is that we, as I said, we want to protect our world against terrorists, and none of us should do any business with those sanctions people. Meaning that every single company, not only every bank, but actually every single company is obliged to make sure that they know with whom they are doing business with, and also with whom those businesses are doing businesses with. So it is obviously a network of assets that are moving. And to protect any peace in the world, we need to protect moving the money. Also, sanctions is not kind of like local in EU business, right? We have terrorists, unfortunately, everywhere globally, and probably will always have. And if we don't make their life harder, there will be even more. So we need to help them to, or not help us, we need to help us, good people, to avoid the criminal networks and make their life as much as possible. For institutions or businesses, it's not just a mandatory thing for regulators and being compliant. It's not about only staying or against fines or avoid fines. It's actually really big business impact as well, right? We all know, Estonians know what happens with institutions which has been part of or failing the sanctions. They are out of business quite soon, or they have really bad reputation. So it's not about only filling the regulations requirements, but it's also actually protecting also their businesses, marketing, let's say. So what numbers are we talking about here? We have around 2,500 sanctioned entities, people and companies, which nobody inside of EU should work with. We have, thanks to these sanctions, we have already frozen over 28 billion euros, thanks to those screenings. And over the globe, there are more than 70,000 people and entities sanctioned. What it means is that extra to those 70K, we also have local lists. So what regulators are expecting against those sanctions? From the moment when they release any sanction lists, you need to freeze the assets of these companies, and you need to stop doing business or letting your customers to do business with them. So it is like minute, right? And now if you consider that it's constantly so, and you need to also do check every transaction. If we are now talking about financial institutions, you need to check every single transaction, what you get or what you send, both parties, not only your customers, but you also need to verify that your customers is not sending any money to sanctioned people. So in Europe only, we have over 10,000 transactions per second. You need to screen and verify that your customers is not in sanctioned list. You need to verify that the other party is not sanctioned list. And you need to make sure that they are not using the sanctioned lists people inside of the reference. So if I'm putting into the reference that I am sending money to Vladimir Putin, then this payment should be stopped, right? You shouldn't do that. Don't do those jokes. Real story. I don't know, raise your hand who has been blocked because they have made a joke in their references or the reason why you send the money. I know quite a few people who have tried that and who have been blocked, but so these systems actually work. Yeah, you need to do it immediately, and you need to do it real time. In the same time, if I'm paying to you and I am not sanctioned and you're not sanctioned, I don't want my payment to be blocked, right? I don't want somebody human to check it out and wait for a week that my payment would go through. That I don't want to. So every single normal customer don't want to have any impact on it. We want the money to move in seconds. And we get really annoyed if it's not so. So what happens, plus the bad reputation from the customers, is that regulators do check it quite often. And yeah, the fees are huge. Every year, regulators come up with the fees. I'm just talking now with one prospect who got in UK, they got 8 billion pounds of fee a few years ago. So it's actual true. It's not like a joke or not going to happen. There are real fines, and companies get out of business because of that. It's up to 5% of turnover as fines, but also the compliance officers who make those decisions, that means actually 5 years in prison as well. So that's the kind of like the fact what we're talking about here. So I'm sure that all the data analysts and data scientists, you already have like this, oh, AI can help here. I know, it can. And what kind of, like, what is the problem with, there are names and you have names, and what's the challenge here, right? Like you do just a search and that's it. Well, it's not so easy because the first and biggest operational problem is false positives. So there are several Vladimir Putins in the world, so you can't do only the name search. But in the transaction, you actually have only the name. So you need to have additional information about the person as well. The biggest operational cost is false positives. So you get an alert, you stop the payment, and somebody human needs to go and check it in, right? So you need to go and detect that it's false positive. In average companies, I have heard 70% of alerts are actually false positive. That means that you just sit there as a person and you just click false positive, false positive, false positive, false positive. Fun. It's the best job in the world, right? And there are hundreds of people who are working like that in Estonia. I don't know, we have SEB and Swedbank here. I don't know how big are your compliance or AML teams, as you are not our customers on AML tooling, but not yet. So it's, the false positive is a true story and true problem because those poor people are just like monkeys. But you need to have them because of the audits. You kind of there is expectation that you have those false positives still. And then even worse are those false negative ones because those are the ones what you're missing. So you play around with the recipient name, and you put the name other way around, or you change the name a little bit so human can maybe read it, or you have actually totally wrong name in the recipient name, but the IBAN is correct, so you are actually missing the name match totally. And then obviously there are wrong decisions as well, right? So that the human is doing those false positives and making wrong decision. That's also fair, but you can fix that with better algorithms, better processes, better trainings, better oversights. But the worst case is that you don't see it. And most of the compliance officers are sleepless because they feel like that they are missing something. There is this pin in the needle, like a needle in the hay that you haven't seen, and it's really, really difficult to notice. So obviously, AI can help, right? We know that AI can help. We can have our local machines and local models and everything like that, and we can train it. On the detection side, like where to detect alerts, you can easily generate better searches, you can do better matching algorithms and trust it. Yeah, you can. You can also help in this investigation. You can, we have even created with 1 hour task with the ChatGPT, the agent AI comes in and clicks for you that this is false positive, and it shows in the UI like it was you, and you can totally do it. There is no way that we can protect it, but the question is that who takes the responsibility? So who is training those models? Because currently we provide the system, the business decisions are done by those compliance officers because every single company wants to have different business risks. Some customers want to do a little bit more shady stuff. We are not here to charge, even though we try to protect themselves from the fines. But we don't, or none of us can do, like outsiders can do those decisions for humans. Why is that? Is of course what we have already heard here, all those AI acts and GDPR, right? If we are talking about this transaction data, then we are talking one of the most sensitive data, right? The health is maybe even worse, but we're talking about people's names, addresses, their date of birth, their monetary status. We're talking there about who they are networking with. Like, we see it all, but giving that to any LLM, probably not. And this risk is really huge. I have a true story here that we released the first AI feature in early spring. Like, it's a really simple assistant which helps you to make a decision. And we sent the announcement that we have this, but to enable it, please opt in. And for opting in, you need to sign a waiver, like our additional contract, because we needed to also legally protect ourselves. As a compliance tool, we need to be really compliant with everything. And most of the customers, most of the users pushed, yay, fun, we have now AI in the system. We will for sure use it. And then many of them were like, okay, fine, send me the amendment over. And then silence. Because in reality, the legal teams, their AI departments are not ready for it to provide such a base for decisions to any AI. It's not there. And I don't think it should be, to be honest. I think it's too early for it. We are talking here that whenever we were like talking about the SEB's decision on providing credit or a credit score based on AI, this is local decision. But now here we are talking about like global reach, about something like what is automated. And this is crazy. So we have few customers who are still testing our AI features, so we are alive with our AI roadmap. And we are implementing AI everywhere. And if you noticed from my previous slides, then it was Gamma AI was generating even my slides. So obviously we are using AI, right, in engineering, in marketing, in sales. It's not that we are not using inside of the company, but with this sanction screening, the cost, like the risk is so huge that even the appetite is there. There is like a huge interest and the market buzz. Then whenever I'm talking with my possible customers, which I do like every week, then they always ask from me, Kadri, but what about AI in your tool? And I'm like, here we go again, because some competitors are really selling that they are so AI based. Welcome, like I don't know who is here, so welcome you as well. Friendly competition is always welcome. But then we talk about it a little bit, well, like I told you now, and then they say, yeah, right, we are not there yet. Yeah, we are AI, really pro AI in our organization. Our marketing is using AI, but like seriously, they are not ready to give the power to even like in-house LLMs to make decisions which enable any sanctions, kind of false negatives, or missing it, anything. So obviously, we can help users with AI. We can help them to provide more data. I wouldn't even go there to suggest next steps for the agent or suggest what is the right answer, but provide more data. We can do that. We can provide more context. We can make the SQLs better understandable, reason. We can find ways how they could maybe improve the SQLs, but in the end, it needs to be still algorithms and old school data science behind this sanction screenings. So yeah, you need to have full logging, you need to have traceability and all of that. I don't know. I think I'm good. Any questions?
We have 2 minutes for questions. I wonder, one question is, do you sell the tools or service that somehow you, what is what you sell to the banks?
We are selling the tool.
So that they in-house would run the tools?
Yeah, well, it's cloud,
okay.
Obviously,
okay.
But yeah.
Okay.
It's a SaaS platform. Mm-hmm.
Over there. Behind you, there was a question. I'm fair.
You had also a question.
I'm not that greedy, but thank you. You mentioned that the false positive rate of sanction screening for transactions was 70%. What's the false negative percentage, if you know one, or an approximation?
How can you even know? These are these needles in the hay, right? So you don't know, and that's risk.
But that's where you pay the fine.
That's when you pay the fine if the audit finds it, and I do think that AI will maybe come in on the second layer soon, that you find those false negatives somehow as a next layer, but not automated sanction screening.
And if I could ask a follow-up, what's the false positive rate of the LLM-assisted or the improved system that you offer?
With I don't know, but I can say that normally in Salv system, if they have configure or case studies, says that it's for us it's false positive is 20%. So it's significant effort what you get actually on operational cost if you use such tools as ours instead of manual effort.
Yeah. So we were discussing a lot of AI, but again we created that equal sign between language model and AI. But it seems what you're trying to achieve, it's a standard classification model, a standard machine learning model. So that kind of AI where you actually can create a backwards feed or loop back, so you can explain how the results are driven, that should be fully legal.
That should be fully legal, but not there yet. I'm not saying that it's not legal. I'm saying that if you are giving the LLM decision to generate the rules and not the oversight of these and kind of like auto-generated rules, then that's not the way to go because the risk is too high. As an addition, yes, yeah, it's doable on some levels at least.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Time is exactly up. And next, we come back to the university. So Meelis Kull is our professor of AI. His inauguration lecture will be next week. Public lecture, please. Means that when you start the job, then he gives a long-term vision. But this is no different talk, I presume.
Indeed. So nice to be here. The very early start was for me also at the university, of course, also at the Tartu University, and I was with Kadri on the same course studying mathematics and then informatics. So, but here I'm to talk to you about data and skills. And why about that? Well, first of all, maybe many of you are considering to hire a next data scientist, and the question is which one? Or maybe you want to become one, or maybe you are, and you want to become even a better data scientist. And from my perspective at the university, we need to consistently keep asking the question, like, what does the data scientist really need to know? And what need to be the skills? So, but for that, we need to reflect on what is really going on in data science. So if I ask from ChatGPT 5, what's in a minimal possible number of characters, the answer, what's going on in data science, 5 characters max. Well, I guess you can also think of what the answer could be, and this is AI. but not just AI. And that's where basically GPT-5 is so much different than 4.0, because 4.0 just says AI. So I thought this really deserves thumbs up, which I usually don't do for the model. So, of course, AI is happening, but then reflecting on data science more broadly and trying to understand what really is going on, digging deeper. Data has always gone hand in hand with computing in one way or another, be it even a human computer. So we need to ask then also what is happening in software. And for that, I'm using the thoughts from Andrei Karpati, who's really known in the AI field. Was director of AI in Tesla, has been in OpenAI, highlighting already back in 2017 software 1.0 and software 2.0 difference, where basically 2.0 means that it's really the weights of the neural network that are playing the role of software code. So we build software, it needs to do something, and some of it, to do that something, is actually neural network weights. And why do we do that? Well, because maybe the problem is so hard that the program also needs to be complex, and then it's hard to build it just manually by a programmer, which would be software 1.0, but we instead take data, train a neural network, and the weights, these are the software 2.0. So we kind of, if we look at code bases, we see that kind of, well, and we think of the weights also as code, we see that more and more of the code gets replaced by this new kind of code. And now, just very recently, the same guy, Andrei Karpati, came up with the term software 3.0, which is prompts. And not just any prompts, but those prompts that actually play a role in software, kind of as part of the code base. Basically pieces of prompts that get run automatically to do stuff. So LLM is doing the stuff, but prompt is the instruction how to do, the same way as usual software code is an instruction for a CPU in the computer to do stuff. And basically, Karpati is pointing out that more and more code gets actually replaced in a way by these prompts. And so anyone coming into the field, he really suggests it's a good idea to really master all of those types of software, not just 1.0. So here are some small fonts, but when it's colorful, that is, of course, code. When it's just plain black, that is prompt. And then in the middle, you have some weird diagram that's machine learning. Yeah. Now, who builds that code, puts that together? I mean, different human roles, programmers for standard code, but for weights, neural network weights, these are automatically obtained from training, but there are still humans behind it. Annotators, engineers, data and ML engineers, and 3.0, well, a prompt engineer, let's say. Or it could be a single person. Maybe we'd call him or her data scientist or AI software engineer, right? To do all of those things, build all of that software. But these days, as we know, we could also let AI to do the writing of that code, whether it's prompts or code to train or just standard code. So we do vibe coding, some instruction, I want this kind of code, and it gets generated. Or even go further, agentic AI, just describe very generically the task, and AI just does everything. All kinds of code, 1, 2, 3, whatever, you name it, you have the code. Now, is there a problem in this? I mean, more and more it is being used, but there are also many signs that just doing everything with vibe coding is not necessarily the best thing to do because of all the risks, right? And this is particularly has been highlighted as early this year as the software understanding gap by actually cybersecurity people. So what is it? So it is the widening mismatch between how complex the software systems are getting and how much we really understand them to the full depth. How well we understand and we can analyze and verify that they are all correct. And it's harder and harder. So, and this has been visualized like software production going up, software understanding going up again also a bit, but not as sufficiently as we would like. So there is a software understanding gap there. And so it's actually DARPA and US military and defense organizations that have highlighted this as a major problem. And why particularly in cybersecurity? I mean, it's all of software, but there, the software that is just generated in various ways can have vulnerabilities. And, well, unexpected vulnerabilities, but it's expected that we would have them. So natural that it would happen. But then we don't have the full control. If we don't understand the software, things can happen. And it's also hard to maintain and fix software that has been generated. I'm not saying that it shouldn't be done. We just need to be very well aware. And more broadly, any unintended behavior of the software or basically some kind of biased GenAI that is actually generating this code. Or when we're using different GenAI methods, well, maybe the systems have been, the neural nets themselves are biased. So there is also some research happening at Tartu about it. Vesa Voidani's group is into verification of software. They do explainable verification. We have the collaboration with their group, my group, and Helga Lipma's group, who doing cryptography, to really think of future software, how to make it secure and reliable. Now, what does it tell us about data science? Is there a similar problem? So there are more and more data analytics tools out there. They're getting easier to use for anyone. Just prompt a bit and you get a nice visualization out. I've also heard the term vibe analytics or vibe data analytics, basically where anyone can be now the analyst. But then we can think of the same problem. There is more and more analytics that is used to make actual decisions. I mean, one thing is to just get the inspiration from it, but the other thing is if then decisions are based on these data analytics. So then it has real life impact. But then how well do we actually understand how this data analytics was done? Is it all correct? Does it take into account all the biases in the data, in the processes, or whatever? So there are risks, basically, I'm saying. We might just draw the wrong conclusions, or we might be just unaware of the hidden biases, and maybe the data were poisoned, or there are many things that can go wrong if we just really don't understand what we're doing. And that's where I really want to get to that understanding is important. Just interlude example from my own work. I don't do programming much at all, but there was a case where I did a year ago. That we had a task of creating a conference schedule. So basically, a huge conference, really 300 talks on 3 days had to be organized into sessions. So we had 8 session time slots consecutive over those days. But then in each there had to be 8 parallel sessions, and we had to arrange all those talks into 4 to 5 talks per session. So the input data are titles and abstracts of these talks, and the task was really to arrange it all. So this had been done earlier years manually, 2 days of a really expert, top kind of field expert who really understands what these titles mean. So it's really hard work. And so what we tried to do is to automate it. So this is an example, just what the kind of one session title would be and the talks that went in. It's not about just keyword search, it's a lot harder. So LLMs were coming to help, so the solution was actually to find potential session titles, use GPT-4o back then, a year ago, to evaluate papers match with each potential session title, use an optimizer to do this finding of a nice schedule. But how to get there? Basically, the first idea how to do it came also from GPT-4o, to use linear planning with linear constraints, that it's doable. And then all the code was written by GPT-4o, minor edits by me, and then that took 1.5 days instead of the original 2. Yeah? And one for creating software run overnight. That software was run overnight, half a day for reformatting manual edits. Except that actually we did this with a very nice collaboration with a student, bachelor student, Mia-Marta Heikla, who was over the year studying how these things can be done, and so preparing a schedule that on toy data, and then later when the actual data came, then I was running it. So it's not exactly true this way, but if we add up, basically the student would have been able to also to do it in the same time after having learned all of this over the year. Then she would have been doing it also within the same time. But why I'm telling this is that there are so many ways where AI can help in data science to achieve something. So this is a year ago. I'm sure now many nice things can be done, and university is a good place to study to do those things. So I think data science is something that is really very much needed. But what are the skills that the data scientist needs? Future data scientist, really, a perfect one, is understanding the data, being able to use all these emerging tools, minimizing this understanding gap, understanding what is going on, creating software 1, 2, 3, decision, and then explaining it to decision makers, or be him or herself the decision maker. Actually, maybe one-person company, data scientist running it all. That's maybe the future. We'll see. And then being able to catch up with all the new tools and paradigms. How to become one? I really think getting this understanding is so important to really get to the depth of what the methods do, what they mean, how all of this works. I think there is a lot of background to master. For example, into doing a master degree. I mean, in a way, when I look at this list, after thinking through, I realized that it's not so far from some of you have seen this old data scientist Venn diagram, where the perfect data scientist knows it all. But in a way, we are not in a so different place. All this AI has come, but I think primarily understanding is key. Not for all users, but for the top users near decision making, there needs to be a lot of understanding as well. So do we need programmers? Some people get really angry if this kind of questions are asked, because really we need more, not fewer, as coding becomes easier. And for data scientists, I would also say the same, that we need people who understand the world. Otherwise, I mean, we lose control. So we want to understand the world, and for that we need to understand the data, because world is complex, and data needs to be generated, measured, stored, processed, and we need to understand how to tell apart signal and the noise. So, and essentially these are the tasks that are crucial for data scientists. And so I think that data science goes really hand in hand with software revolution, and we need to make sure that we understand and that the future data scientists also understand. Thank you.
Please. Talks by professors are so scary, no questions. In front in here.
There's one was there.
And Janubi was there. Oh, you got the microphone, ask, shoot.
Thank you. What about bridging this understanding gap with the help of AI? Do you see the potential for using this tool also to help bridge this widening gap?
Absolutely.
Not scary at all.
I mean, I think this GenAI is really one of the most magical learning tools, at least for people who already are motivated and have learning skills. It's harder in high school, as we will surely find out during the year.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. So I have a question. It haunts me. So, do I need to become a developer, or like a software developer, or do I need to become a data scientist, or do I need to become both of them at the same time? Or as there is another saying that the hackers of the future are social engineers, essentially. So do I need to become a social engineer as well?
If you want to become a hacker, yeah.
I'm a professional hacker.
Become
actually.
everyone at the same time. I think what I didn't say really was the numbers. I mean, I hinted maybe with Andrew Ong's citation. He says there should be more programmers. I actually don't want to claim that there should be more data scientists. It's really hard to say about how many we need and how the roles will be spread in the future. But I do know that data scientists will be needed, and that basically many roles around that need a deep understanding of what is going on.
Let's keep it then brief.
Max Tegmark in his Life 3.0 brought 3 examples. A spaceship went bust or like exploded because of a wrong comma in a program, a wrong full stop in a program, and a wrong numerical overflow. So have you heard, or do you have good examples of vibe codings, commas, full stops, and numerical overflows?
No, I would ask a friend in my pocket about that.
Please.
Deep research on that.
Hi, I was just wondering, do you offer also case studies, more applied data science or AI for, I don't know, revenue generation ideas, something like that in your university? Thank you.
So Jaak is really leading the program, so maybe you would like to answer.
How to prompt for business ideas, or how to become rich. We chose the wrong profession because we are not even shareholders of the university. Not even the options to us.
But yes, we do have different applied directions in which we try to get best people to talk about use cases as well.
And the last question, we will have the panel right after that.
So with the use of like GenAI, the number of junior software developers, the general status quo for a lot of people is that the number of junior software developer jobs are going down. Do you think that with the use of AI, we should redefine junior software developer roles?
That's an interesting one. I mean, I think young people will do something great, I'm sure. So maybe we wouldn't call them then junior software engineers, but or junior developers, but they will innovate, yes. So basically, it's about naming the roles. Maybe the kind of software that maybe at least yesterday was written by junior developers, that code would be more done through AI-assisted processes in the future, or almost today.
Can I just extend it by saying that, like, if it is like, why has it not yet been like redefined? I mean, if the roles are already being automated, why hasn't it not yet been redefined?
It probably is such a tough question because the decline in jobs, is it due AI taking over jobs? Is it economic hardship in the world? I think companies are doing great damage by telling people, the young people, that don't study computer science anymore somehow. But this is some of the top people say, don't study computer science, now do this or this or that. We will pay the price down the line somewhere. But honestly, we also don't know what is the true needed number of professionals later. How many do you need who deeply understand this? Because now this has been a mass job, all the Indian companies producing. I guess India will be hurt first if we think that they have been doing lower skilled labor, manual labor in there. Okay, but with this, I want to close the presentations part. Don't leave, because we will have the panel now. So now we have you will have 2 minutes of stand up, think about the questions, and we will get the chairs. And music, please. I have the pleasure to start asking first questions, but we will take questions from you. One thing that has been bothering me a little bit when we teach, Meelis knows this CRISP, cross-reference industry standard process for data mining, and you can put in all the data science kind of in that. It starts from business understanding. And yet, Kea, you said that you can take any Kaggle competition and just run those, right?
Yes, I can be stupid and still do it.
No. So the question is, Kristjan, in your case, you go to new customer, they have totally different business understanding, business data. So how to obtain these skills? Because somehow it seems to me that the technical skills are better transferable. You apply kind of a little bit similar techniques, but how to develop this business understanding and business questions and domain, and even if maybe they are from one company to another slightly different. So who wants to shoot? Kristjan, you have a lot of exposure to different companies.
Yeah, I would maybe continue on Meelis's thing, like what is a future programmer or data scientist. So I think there's like two options, and I don't think there's like, I mean, obviously there can be more, but in general you can go like deeper or wider, in a sense that you can either become like super expert, like the best programmer out there who will always have the minimal gap basically. Or you can go wider. You may understand, okay, maybe I will have a wider gap, but for example, I am able to talk with people and, not piss them off basically, and I can, understand that part more than maybe the person with the minimal gap, because, I think there will be people who, cannot do all of it, so you have to kind of make that choice at some point, I think. Maybe there are definitely some unicorns who can have the minimal gap and also magical, really good people skills, etc., and very good business understanding. But yeah, I think you can either go wide or very deep. I think both are options, at least up to some point. I know, did I answer the question?
Kind of,
yeah.
But the others can weigh in.
Yeah,
Kadri.
I can add that you can go deep one moment and then next moment wide, and doing it in waves a little bit, so you gain something. You can't do both together. But I have been switching companies here and there, and in nutshell, in overall, are they so different? Yeah, on data level, maybe they are, but some basics are really same. And I think that's the thing what we are asking from the university, that the newbies are not totally like only on data, but they understand what business means.
Did you learn that at the university?
No.
No, Kea.
Yeah. Okay, well, I have seen that, some business understanding comes with age, as you work. Yeah, experience, yeah, sorry. Experience. I am already a bit experienced. Yeah, so I think there's not the cheat code there. You just have to, do your projects, learn from senior people, make some mistakes, and you will get a better business understanding.
Stefano, you want to?
Yeah, maybe the only thing that I would add is that nobody knows what's gonna happen, and really absolutely no one. So maybe also edging your options is not a bad idea. Maybe don't focus 100% on one thing, but be flexible. Maybe it will not be pure programming, maybe it will not be pure human skills like communication, maybe it will not be pure business understanding, but having a foot in each of them, maybe it's the safest option.
Meelis?
So Kadri mentioning doing it in waves, like being wide and then going deep somewhere. I think that's what we at least try to emulate in the university curricula as well, having both kind of wider courses and then also projects that go deep. But of course, it's not easy. Try to make them as realistic as possible, but with data, of course, which data can you actually get out from the world that is realistic enough? But then if there are collaborations with companies, then that helps.
If I want, I would like to add on this. There was discussion about the education, that it is a T shape, that you go deep in one domain and then broad at the top. But there has been also movement away from that T shape alone. Why the depth is important? Just otherwise you don't feel the pain. You don't understand what does it really mean to go deep in one area. If you're only breadth, then you don't understand this depth in one domain. So instead of the T, now the discussion has been on the pi that has two pillars. In two aspects you go deep and then you cover the bridge. Then you see that the depth can be slightly different in two different domains. And in our curriculum, for example, when we talk about the specialization in different domains, we require that you take at least 2 or 3 different types of biology and health. They're actually very different, right? Or looking at the stars or looking at the Earth, remote sensing or astronomy. They are actually kind of related but different, also the businesses. So you have the methods, but you apply in at least 2. You kind of see that at least 2 different domains, how they have been applied, the similar methods. Okay, let's try to, please. And one task for you to think of which questions are the best.
Thank you for the
No
great
pressure.
event. No pressure. How big do you think is the data science and AI market in Estonia?
For jobs or for businesses? For
In
businesses,
terms of number of people, for example.
For businesses, infinite, as much as they can make business outside of Estonia, but how many people should we train?
And that's, I would say, let's say, I am on the record saying that the problem is not the data scientists. Obviously, we do need more data scientists and programmers, etc. While I would say the bottleneck is not there. I would say the bottleneck is on the business side of, courage to actually do things. And then, there's like insane amount of things to do. So, but the business side, I would say, maybe doesn't always get there as fast as maybe the data scientists would like. So I think there's a potential for much more. While on the other hand, data scientists who really care about the business side can help the business get there, I would say.
But by business, you don't only mean sales people.
No. Like in general, like actually not even mostly sales. I would say people who are responsible for the processes, for example, who are the decision makers. Those who have the power to say, okay, we're gonna do things differently and force this through.
How do you train for that?
I don't know. I think you grow into it, not train for it.
Yeah.
Are there competitions for that?
I want to say that train the curiosity, keep the interest, and I think the key here is not how many data scientists are you releasing every year from university, but it's also about everybody else to keep learning and changing, right? So you can't stay put. That's obvious. But answering your question that how many people, I mean, like every single engineer should be soon data scientist if we were listening Meelis, right? So that's the answer, I think, for me at least. So you need to learn, all of us.
We have had many software engineers to come back to the university to now study data science. There might be some in the auditorium. Question from there. Did anybody want to follow up on that? No. That's a new question from there.
Yes, thank you. We've been talking a lot about the developments and a lot about how machines take over and so on in different aspects in those presentations. At the same time, we've also been talking that there are a lot of preconditions and dependencies before you can start gaining value out of the AI, machine learning, more complex data processing. How would you teach the organizations and maybe then also leaders in the organizations how to recognize those precursors? And also, a lot of curriculum is either business focused, which is more towards how to run your business, and then technical focus, which is how to solve concrete programs, but how to create that gap between those, or fill that gap between those two areas. So people who design the processes in the organization would know better how to design them in a way that would be later compatible with data processing capabilities.
Is there a question exactly?
I think that how to bring those closer to each other, like the abilities or capabilities, and then the trust of it. I think that the trust is the question here. Many leaders think that, but I have heard from different leaders, AI, even using it in sales or marketing, makes you lazy. So it's really visible you're using AI and your customers don't take you seriously anymore. Your people get lazy, they don't work anymore, they lose their creativity. And that kind of like thinking are there, which either we change by time and proving that some companies who are braver and more innovative, they get the advantage, while others fall behind, right? So I think competition is in here, right? And time. So I don't know. Is there anything else? We need to show the businesses that what works and how others succeed.
For laziness, I have this anecdote from Helsingin Sanomat. Helsinki main newspaper, Finnish newspaper, had the front cover ad for Nordea, and there was a baby photographed with 6 toes. So what would people say? You used AI? What would Estonians say? But that was a true story and true tragedy that can happen. So they use that on purpose, but nevertheless, yeah. Over there, gentleman.
Yeah, just we had some talks about how my question is basically, when AI can be trusted in high-risk environments to make decisions, or what is necessary in your perspective? Does it need to have flesh and bones? Should we be able to punish it somehow, or like when we can trust it in high-risk
AI
decisions?
with flesh and bones? I hope not.
Maybe. I think that was a question to me or Kristjan, I guess. I know maybe some of your customers as well. And yeah, as well. Okay. Yeah, you can answer.
I have some comments. I think the EU is not really supporting, use of AI in high-risk scenarios due to the AI Act and all those things you have to do, all those hurdles you have to jump over if you want to do some high-risk AI use case. So I think companies think twice before they will use AI in high-risk scenarios. And if it's not even formally high risk, larger, more stable companies, like Telia, will still have human oversight in LLM use cases where we see like any risk.
More towards what do you think that is necessary, like
changes laws.
Yeah, that, but also like, should we be able to hold it accountable, or we have someone, I don't know, in English, tankist, basically, that you just write up for everything?
We just need better AI for that, and the sad truth is that it isn't as good as we would want today. But we know, regarding high risk, I mean, we know that humans running things are also a high risk. So basically, we need to find ways to do technology better, and at least those places where we are really suffering because of human errors, then at least those places we really should try to make use of AI a lot.
But intuitively, mankind is kind of waiting for the first startup, single-person unicorn, single-person company that reaches the billion valuation. So there cannot be too much human oversight what he or she would be doing, can there? Not much. Just scalable as long as it brings money.
And most probably not coming from EU thanks to the AI Act. So that's probably also the feedback loop to EU regulations then, and then we will find, but it will take time.
Yeah, maybe one thing that I would add, last one, is probably the question will for sure be extremely relevant, but probably right now is also really too early, because as long as the machine doesn't prove to be so much better than human judgment, then nobody would give the task all to the machine. But when the machine is statistically 100 times more precise than the human, then when the transition might happen. But we are still so far away from that point.
The main organizer of Tallinn Data Week.
Thanks. I have a daughter who finished bachelor's and luckily has a job right now. But people coming out of university go to job interviews. One of the questions is, where do you see yourself in 5 years? So how should the people who come out of university actually think about the answer there? Like, is there a mental model? Is there a good answer? Like, how do you even start to answer that question?
I would first say that I think if a person has a favorite domain or field, then I think that's an easy answer. I would continue in that field. I mean, from the data science perspective, maybe it's data science for healthcare, or maybe it's for finance, or whatever that field is. I think that's a way to set your goal, really to make a difference in that field. If you're really in, let's say, more method side, core, I don't know, machine learning researcher, I think then it's harder to answer because we are at risk.
I have retrospectively thought about the something that was kind of, I could not, all the predictions were there. We all know the Moore's law, right? Computers will double in number of transistors in 1.5 years or whatever take of that. And basically saying that in 10, 15 years, our computers will be 1,000 times more powerful, right? And this exponential growth that has happened throughout the IT over the last 50, 70 years, right? This is seems to be just accelerating. And that makes it really, in retrospect, if 5 years from now and then you look back, of course we had the signs that the programs will be corrupt. Now the programmer time will be slowed because the bugs that the mysteriously appear there, they can't find them. You go one way or the other way. I can't imagine that we get rid of AI in coding, but somehow there must be better tools, capabilities. It seems to me that this acceleration will somehow continue, and something of this sort that, okay, we don't know everything, but we know that some acceleration is going to be even faster. Whether we will hit some regulatory hurdles and whatever, that's totally different question. Like using AI for defense versus using AI for attacking somebody, right? We are changing our minds. Oh, now you stand up and you get a microphone.
Hi. From learning perspective, I think from universities, as you said, now we are in this vibe coding phase, and I think communication becomes even more important because now we are trying to communicate with the models. And back in the days, there was like a website called Let Me Google It For You. Now we are getting to a phase where people don't even know how to kind of communicate with or get the correct answers. So how do we kind of in a way, with the classical programming where we have stricter rules, how do we teach, like how do we make the language and communication better?
Join us. We will have to struggle with that ourselves.
And the other part is like in university itself, how is AI being integrated as part of learning within Tartu University, or is it?
I can say on behalf of software engineering curriculum manager, he says AI is in every course that we teach. There is part of AI, and I think this ubiquitous AI use throughout the curriculum, I think is definitely happening.
I can actually add here that it's not only about computer science. I just finished my MBA last year, and from the first marketing course, we were talking only about AI and how to automate this. So, yeah, I think that's just kind of like normal as we did start like some time ago using computers, right?
Meelis. Lembit.
Yes, Lembit Law, Portata AI, focusing on AGI readiness and Estonian general intelligence podcaster. I have a bit of a deeper question. Considering the fact that we're talking about the different business functions and how to better automate the processes and things like this, when we're looking going forward, that computer intelligence or machine intelligence is getting smarter and smarter, bypassing the human intelligence. How important will it be actually, in addition to having the better business understanding, having the better data science skills, having the better analytical skills, and all of this, considering that today's programmers are kind of a bridge builders, kind of a translators between the business process world and the computer world. In the future, it will be the bridge builders between the intelligences. So how important will the skills like psychology, anthropology, philosophy, humanity, all of those skills become in our conversations with the machine intelligence?
All within one person.
It's so philosophical
We
question.
feel
I
so
need to think.
inadequate in here, sorry. Imposter syndrome.
Yeah, we don't have our phones, otherwise we would already ask.
I mean, obviously, you need all of them, and I mean, I would think like maybe why AI projects fail or these kind of big projects fail, like then it is because some people were not convinced, and that's why some things didn't fly. Is this a decision maker or is this a lawyer who just doesn't want to do something because that's like more convenient? So this constant ability to persuade people to do these things, I think this will still be there. So as long as the gatekeepers are people, you need to deal with them. There are these fancy titles where people say, "Yeah, my board member is AI," but I think that's just more marketing than reality. I think so. You obviously need those skills to make things happen.
And I think understanding psychology and understanding other people is something that we shouldn't start teaching at the university. We should start it a lot earlier. So because I mean I think high schools and even earlier there is some of it, but I think there should be more, and universities should continue.
But by that take, we have to teach everything in school or kindergarten, and I hear this all the time that media competencies have to be already in kindergarten.
No, but it's just that unfortunately most people don't go to the university, but we need, I think, a lot more people in the society to understand each other. So therefore, it needs to be taught earlier. Simply.
That is tough. Okay.
Yeah, I think your question is quite futuristic, and I feel like even today, like most people in Estonia don't understand AI very much, okay? So when you look at the AI courses given to, non-data people, non-IT people, it's like on the level of how to open ChatGPT and write your prompt, okay? So if we talk about maybe super intelligence one day, it would be good if today people start to understand what is ChatGPT, what is LLM, what is not LLM, and what is ML, okay? Yeah.
Yeah, but what I do notice maybe somehow in the feed is that there are lots of courses going on now, lots of course offerings. We will teach you this or this or this. Also, we will teach your business to achieve advantage through data. So this is happening more and more, that some people are confident enough to say that, oh, come to me with your data and I will make your business better, right? So there is quite some confidence in some of these course offerings and consultancy offerings, and I think it's a good time for many consultants going here and there and selling promises. Whether they will hold, I don't know, but please.
Hello, dear panelists. So I am genuinely surprised because we haven't mentioned a buzzword all throughout these couple of hours.
Which one?
And that is crypto. That is messing everything up currently. So even if you look at Bitcoin hash is breaking 1 terahash. It's mind-boggling, really. So my question is, and we are talking about data science here, so that's an enormous amount of data computation, like like all the time. So my question would be, how is crypto messing up your jobs? Because this is going to affect every one of you, I suppose, eventually, especially you, sir.
I guess the first one-man company that raises 1 billion money is saying that AI, crypto, AI, something, but a lot of buzzwords, but crypto indeed is not...
And one more additional one.
But do we understand crypto? We kind of understand crypto and then we try to avoid, steer away from that.
Yeah, but that's the thing, because that my additional question would be, how do you even prepare students on the academia level to this? Because this is it's a storm coming on. Like they are getting the regulatory frameworks ready all around the world, and we are looking at USA, right, at the moment. So how does it even affect you?
I think there are many storms upcoming still. There were many in the past, many will come. We need to just prepare more generally. We cannot specifically train for against one storm, because there would be others that we don't know about. So we need to build generic skills as well.
But why was the crypto to the bank? That was a question to bank. And anti-money laundering, Stefano, do you want to?
Well, couple of things. First of all, thank you for saying crypto and not cryptocurrency, because it's for sure crypto. Currency, I don't know. Crypto something. But one impact that for sure has had actually that I can think of is quite positive, at least one, is that because of Bitcoin mining, there has been a lot of R&D on GPUs and this kind of computation, so has made actually training time for data scientists faster, and more economic. So at least one positive thing has done it. For the regulations point of view, which is maybe the problematic, because like with the current physical limitation of Bitcoin, for example, it cannot be a currency. It's too slow for the transaction, so it will not and it still varies too much in, I don't know if it's too much data science answer, but
there are so many different cryptos. I mean, they don't all need to be public ledger, and you don't need to waste. I now understand why we have CPUs, crypto processing units. Bad joke.
But it depends on people, but at the end, what will happen with them. But maybe when certain presidents in the US will not be so prone to crypto, maybe things will change a little bit.
Which one? But how do you even detect, for instance, the fraud?
Yeah, that's for me, I guess. To be honest, our company Salv is out from crypto, so we are only providing fiat AML or like fraud algorithms for crypto companies. So I'm actually disqualifying them from my sales. So losing the business, but yeah, that's I can't answer you.
But that's how Russia is being paid, as much as I understand.
I need to start executing my closing powers. We are over time, and we have tables full of servicing in there. So final thoughts. What did you learn today? And also maybe you can indicate which question was the best. We can give the award to them. That's a tough question.
What I learned today.
Yeah.
I learned that Kaggle competitions can be very interesting.
Good.
I'll think about it. And best question, well, maybe I will be biased, but I will go for crypto.
I think for me it was very, very cool to hear about the initiatives in University of Tartu, especially the new things where you deal with the the new projects that you mentioned. I don't remember exactly their names, but which talk about how to understand the gap. Basically, I think this is very important because we have also seen programs being written in AI, and then you go and ask, okay, but there's some weird issue here, and then the honest answer is, okay, I have to see what was written, because people just can't comprehend everything, which is up to some point understandable. So yeah, I think that's will be very cool to hear how it goes.
I think we had great presentations. But for the first time, I had this experience that during the break, people approached me and told me about how, like 10 years ago, they did machine learning competitions, and they were like the OGIs, okay? And I'm very surprised and like happy that we have such great and experienced people in Estonia.
Yeah, I think I was also really listening to Meelis's talk about, or I think reflecting a lot about that, as we see it constantly in the market, and also all this AI buzz is the same, right? Are you trusting the data, what you get, and to understand how it gets? So, and about best question, I think I actually liked what would you do in 5 years, because that is one thing that hasn't changed. That was the first question to me as well. And I didn't know what to answer then as well. You never know out from university to answer this question. So yeah, you improvise. Whatever you say is true.
I was really glad to hear about different businesses, different uses of AI, particularly about the right and the wrong. That was great. And yeah, many interesting questions. Wouldn't point out any particular one. That would be unfair.
Yeah, and since I was helping to, well, I was putting together the speakers list, so everybody did so great. I have learned so much from each one of you. And I think that the question, how should we think about things, is really important. How to think about topics. Because that is something, how do you even crystallize that to students or to anybody? So, but you will get the prize and you will get the prize. Okay, with this, I conclude the session and the seminar, but the networking continues. That is not it. There are some prizes I hand over, but the bus back to Tartu leaves at 9 o'clock. There will be some signs, so you will not miss that. And here are some for the presentations. Thank you. Nii. Helkivad helkurkotid. Ja.